moss or hay, and layered in fur, wool, and resignation. There were no sheets, no duvets, no embroidered pillowcases. If it was soft and didn't bite, it went on the bed. Everyone slept in their clothes. Changing into pajamas in sub-zero temperatures was a good way to become a Viking popsicle, so layers stayed on. Boots were sometimes even worn to bed. If that sounds ridiculous, remember, frostbite doesn't care about your dignity. Infants were bundled up and held close. Children were often placed between parents or older siblings, not for emotional bonding, but for pure logistical insulation. It was essentially a family-sized meatloaf of humans and wool. Couples slept together, obviously, but so did anyone who could squeeze in. Modesty was not a priority. Warmth was. If someone's feet wandered a bit, that was called survival, not scandal. Wool cloaks were draped over bodies like medieval thermal blankets. Animal hides, especially from reindeer or bears, added another layer of warmth. If you had a bearskin blanket, you were either very rich or very lucky, or very committed to hunting terrifying things in winter. In wealthier households, or during particularly brutal winters, heated stones or bricks were sometimes placed under bedding. Yes, the Vikings had their own version of a hot water bottle, only heavier and more likely to burn your thigh. And if the fire in the hearth went out during the night, you didn't relight it immediately. You pulled someone closer and muttered something in Old Norse that probably translated to, "Don't you dare steal the fur again." In short, sleeping in a Viking longhouse wasn't glamorous. It was smoky, cramped, and had a 100% chance of snoring. But it worked. In theory, smoke was supposed to drift up and escape through the thatched roof, or a vent near the top of the structure. In practice, it clung to the rafters like an unwanted guest and slowly filtered down into everyone's lungs. You didn't breathe fresh air in a Viking house. You breathed experienced air. By the end of a winter evening, your chest felt like it had smoked a pork shoulder, and so did the pork shoulder. Oddly enough, this wasn't all bad. The smoke helped preserve meats and fish hung from the rafters. It also kept insects and mold at bay. Plus, the constant low-level exposure probably gave every Viking the respiratory system of a Victorian coal miner. Still, the downsides were hard to ignore. Red eyes, hacking coughs, and ceilings stained darker than Odin's mood. Small children and elders likely suffered most, being shorter and therefore closer to the densest layers of